Are you trying to figure out how to price your products as a handmade business owner? This can be really difficult, and it's honestly one of the first things that you need to do before you even put your products out there, right? Before you list them on your own shop, Etsy, Shopify, or even when you're doing craft fairs and vendor shows, things like that. And there are a lot of different videos out there that talk about pricing and pricing specifically for creatives. But when I was starting out, some of these videos that I watched, it just felt very disingenuous, and it felt like obviously we all want to make money doing this business, right? And we don't want to undercharge ourselves. But some of these people were talking about how you need to charge 4, 5, 6 times what you think you are worth, right? What you think that these products should be priced at. And to me, that is just a real big hindrance on a lot of people starting out, because it's hard to say, hey, I want to sell this product that I just started making a couple weeks ago for $200 when it only costs $20, and it probably could be a little bit better. And so as you go on, you definitely need to raise your prices. You have more experience, your items are of better quality, things like that. And so that's what this whole video is about, is kind of going over several different pricing strategies, and then just how to make all of this work for you specifically. Because when it comes down to it, somebody can tell you, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, but it might not work for you. So that's why I'm here to give you a few different pricing strategies, and you can hopefully pick one that works and feels right for you. My name is Eleni Amin. I am a handmade business owner. I'm also a graphic designer, marketer, and hopefully your new business and marketing friend, right? And helping you and helping all creatives figure out how to make a living with their craft. And this is, again, very specific to creatives and handmade business owners, not necessarily for people trying to sell, like PLR products or clip art that they got from somewhere else. This is for handmade businesses that actually create the things that they are selling. So there are 4 different pricing strategies that I would like to go over today, and the first one is cost plus pricing. So what this is essentially taking the cost of the materials plus whatever you want to essentially pay yourself for an hourly rate. So let's say you are making a small crocheted plushie, right? Let's say the materials that it took you and the pricing, all of the stuff, packaging, you include all of that in there, is $20 to create. Now let's say it takes you 2 hours to create this product and you're paying yourself $15 an hour. Well, if it takes 2 hours, $15 an hour, that's $30 plus the cost, which is $20. So that would be $50 is what you would charge for that. Now, again, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this and the perceived value of the product itself, but this is what cost-based pricing is about. So especially if you have higher end items, let's just say, gold-plated necklace or something like that. So if you wanted to charge, let's just say it costs $30 to make and it took you an hour to create, and you want to charge yourself, let's just say $30 an hour, you would take that $30 plus the $30 for the 1 hour it took you, and that's a $60 necklace. That's how some people really like to price. So the second pricing model that a lot of people like to follow is called value-based pricing. Now, as the name suggests, value-based pricing is the perceived value that the customer will get from that product. So if I take a gold necklace as an example, if you can charge $30 if that covers your materials and gives you a little bit extra money, right? But you can also charge $90 if that took you a while, it's high quality, and it's a statement piece that makes people happy, right? Perceived value is anything that makes someone's life easier, right? Does your product save someone time and energy? Does it help them make more money? Does it help them stay organized? Is it making them extremely happy? All of those things, the end result of what your product gives a customer is essentially the value behind it. And the higher you price your products, the more perceived value it will have automatically. So again, if you have a really cheap keychain, let's say that you get somewhere and you sell that for $6, you might get a few more sales, but it barely covers the cost of it. And not only that, but if I buy a $5 to $6 keychain, I'm not really thinking that it's the best quality in the entire world, right? So if I price that keychain, and it does have to be a good quality too, there's a correlation with that value. You can't just say, okay, well, that makes sense, I'm going to charge $20 for that same quality keychain. It has to have a higher quality if you want to charge a higher perceived value price for that product. Now, another example would be, let's say you sell a macrame plant hanger for $10, right? Yes, again, people might buy it, they're gonna look at it and probably not think that it's gonna be the highest top tier quality macrame plant hanger. But if I sold that same plant hanger for $25 or $30, I'm thinking, okay, they probably used a higher quality material, higher quality macrame rope or string, right? And so maybe it's 100% cotton and it's recycled or whatever it might be, but the quality that I perceive that macrame plant hanger has is going to be higher than if I said, hey, this is worth $10. Now, there are a lot of artists and creatives that enjoy the value-based pricing, and I do this pricing a lot when I do like branding packages and do graphic design work. And if you have physical products, things like that, it works as well. But the trick with this pricing model, the value-based pricing model, is that you also have to believe that whatever you are charging is worth it, is worth it for you too, because it's really hard to charge, let's just say $80 for something that costs $3 if you don't believe that that value is actually there. So yes, you can charge higher and it will have a higher perceived value, but the quality has to be there. What you are giving people has to have that value added to it. You can't just charge a higher price and think, oh, all right, well, I'll just get more money from it. You want that value to be there. So the third pricing model is competitive pricing. Now, competitive pricing is essentially just comparing what your pricing will be compared to what other products that are similar to yours are in the market. One of the best ways that I have found to do this is honestly just going on Etsy and typing in the products that you are creating, or at least something similar to what you were creating. So let's just take that macrame plant hanger as an example. If you go on Etsy, type in macrame plant hanger, let's see what pops up. Now, you're gonna have a big range of pricing depending on a lot of things. The quality of materials, the perceived value, like all of these things will differ. But what this does is give you a range so you can understand your pricing, right? Now, I never want people to undercharge themselves just to make a couple more sales. That's not how we do business and actually make money as a business. So with that being said, if you see a range between $10 and $45, don't charge the $10. We're not here to see if we can undercut a bunch of people. I know there are some people who think that this is a good strategy. I do not believe it's a good strategy because it's really hard to get a bunch of people who are buying your products that are fairly cheap and affordable and then raising your prices and telling people they're now worth more, if that makes sense. So we want to start kind of mid-range, upper range right away so that we get that higher perceived value. So the competitive pricing is just giving you that range so you have a better idea of what you should start your pricing at. Again, if it's $10 or the lower end, I wouldn't go under that, and I would not even go that in general. If you have good quality products, you can charge a little bit higher pricing. The best way to explain the competitive pricing as well is also just thinking, okay, if the most expensive plant hanger that I see is $45, I probably won't be able to charge $120 for a product that is similar or pretty much the same pattern, right? Because people are going to look at that and say, okay, well, I saw this pretty much exact same thing for less than half the price. Why would I pay that much more for it if I can get it for this price? And so again, you can have, talk about in the descriptions how it's better. If you want to charge more than 45, man, it better be worth it. It better be, the quality has to be there. The quality of the work that you actually create, but also the quality of the materials used. So I can use a really cheap macrame rope and charge all of that, but I can charge more if I'm using a 100% cotton, recycled cotton macrame rope, right? Things like that. So that's something to take into consideration. And another thing I want you to think about is when you are looking through Etsy or any other shops that actually sell similar products to you, are you seeing a lot of products that are almost exactly the same as yours or are the same as yours? Because if so, this is also going to make the competition a lot harder to break out of. If I have the exact same product as somebody else and theirs is a little bit cheaper, again, most likely going to go with the cheaper version, because why would I buy a product that's more expensive when it's the exact same thing as the other one? So a huge thing with the competitive rates, again, we're getting a range, right? But you also want to stand out from your competitors. So instead of making a macrame plant hanger that, is the same as everyone else, maybe I'm adding different colored beads or adding a new pattern design, something to it. We want to stand out and differ from the competition so that we can charge that higher pricing as well. And the fourth pricing strategy that I'd like to talk about today is the guess and test pricing strategy. Now, not many people are going to talk about this because it's probably not the best or most efficient pricing strategy, but I wanted to add this because especially when we're starting out, it can be really hard and daunting to try to figure out what our pricing is going to be. And if we're mainly selling online, it's going to be different than if you are mainly selling through craft fairs and vendor shows, things like that. And that's typically where I prefer using the guess and test method, which is essentially just throwing a number out there and seeing what sticks. And so if you're doing craft fairs or vendor shows, there's a lot of people that are coming through and looking at your products. And because you're competing with other people who are in the same building as you and all that jazz, right? We want to price fairly. We still want to price where we're actually creating things and making money from them. And we just really want to make sure that we don't underprice ourselves to where we can't even cover the cost of the fair or craft show itself. So that's something to think about there. An example would be my first craft fair that I did. It was not a big craft fair. There wasn't a great turnout, but I did have someone come up to my booth and tell me that I had a lot of beautiful work and amazingly crafted macrame items. And then she also said, and they're super affordable too. Which good, but also instantly after that I was like, okay, I can raise my prices. I need to raise my prices, because if people are coming through and just thinking, oh, this is affordable, it doesn't feel good to me, because I'm like, okay, I could be getting more money from this. And initially I did think that it should be more money too, but my beginner brain was thinking, okay, if I charge less, I'll sell more. But that's not always the case. And in fact, you want to charge more so that you are making more and covering the costs of that product itself. So when it comes down to it, your pricing strategy is really a personal preference, but there are always things that you should be considering. And the number one thing you should consider is the cost. So the cost of the materials, the labor, overhead, and things like that. And then another thing is to think about that perceived value. And again, the perceived value is what your customers think that value is worth. And so if you are providing a service or allowing somebody to save time, make money, whatever it might be, that perceived value can be higher, which will allow you to charge more for that product. And then, of course, also considering your competition. Yes, you want to be competitive, but you also don't want to be the least competitive person, as in, I guess, just charging the least for your products, because that perceived value that we talked about is going to be lower as well. We never want to undercharge ourselves. We want to charge for the value that we are providing people. So with all of this, if you couldn't tell, I really like the perceived value way of doing things. But another way that I see a lot of people doing pricing is taking the cost of the materials, goods, all of that stuff, and then timesing it by 3. And personally, I think this is a good place to start for people, because it's really hard when you're starting out to charge like 6 times what the product costs you to make, because you just are not comfortable with that. You don't feel like that value is actually there. Maybe there are some things that you could tweak on that product to even make it better in the first place. And so maybe starting out with that times 3 pricing, like you can try that, right? So if something costs you $20 to make, times 3, so it'd be $60 total. Again, All of this just depends on your personal preferences, what you feel is right for you, but these are the different pricing strategies that I see most people utilizing. Now, if you'd like to learn more about niching down, pricing your products, what products you should be creating, where you should sell your products, and kind of starting your online social media presence with your products, then definitely check out my $7 monthly membership. It's called Unleash Your Niche, and the entire point of this is to help you build that solid foundation for your handmade business. Again, it's only $7 a month. You also will get access to a private Facebook group, and you can ask all of your questions in there, right? All your questions about, hey, is this an okay price to have? Is this quality okay? Should I be working on this? Should I be nervous about this? Whatever questions you might have, I definitely want to help you. And again, that's what this entire membership is about. $7 a month, and you get access to me. This is a new membership. It's something that I am slowly going to start marketing. But yeah, if you are interested in learning how to grow your handmade business and have that solid foundation, then definitely check it out. The link will be in the bio. I also want you to take into consideration and understand that you can always alter and change your pricing as time goes on. Maybe you're not making any sales and it hasn't happened really for a few months. Okay, maybe you need to lower your pricing or up the quality of your products. Now, whichever one you choose, again, that's up to you. But when it comes down to it, we have to understand you can change these things. Just because you price something at $30 does not mean it will never change, right? You can change it, but give it a little bit of time to work. I usually recommend roughly 3-4 weeks if you're doing online sales, just to see if the algorithm can change and people can actually see those products and services and are buying more of your products. I really hope this video helped you feel like this pricing strategy and all of this process is not so difficult and complex. I really want you to understand that it is something that we all have to go through, all of us creatives, and it's really based on personal preferences. Again, there are so many people out there who say, oh, you have to do this, and this is the model that you have to use. It's going to be different based on every person, based on the products that you are creating, and based on your location, especially if you are doing in-person craft shows and things like that. Now, the main thing to consider is when you're pricing, you have to feel like the pricing is worth it for you specifically. It has to feel good for you, and you have to have a mindset that you are going to make an income and make more money. And you can't just feel like, okay, if I do this, I'm not going to feel good about it, but I'm going to try it anyways. No, you have to have that mindset of, I want to make money from this and I want to provide a high quality product. Again, this doesn't have to be really difficult, but it is important to get right. And in order to get it right, you might have to try a couple different versions of these processes and pricing strategies. And as time goes on, again, you'll get better at this. And by following the tips in this video, you can ensure that not only are you pricing fairly, but you're also going to price and make a profit from all of this, right? That is the main thing we're trying to do. We are creatives. We love creating, and we want to create high quality products for the end user, the consumer, but we also want to make money from it so that we can continue doing this. And with these strategies, you can understand how, okay, if I price this much, will I make a profit from it? If you're not going to make a profit from it, then maybe consider, again, upping the quality or figuring out how you can spend less time working on something. The important thing is, if you want to make this a business, you have to get paid for that. So always keep that in mind. Don't feel like you are undercharging yourself, because you are worth it. If your products are good and high quality, you are worth that extra pricing, especially because it is handmade. So to conclude this video, again, I hope you liked it. Let me know if there are any other questions that you have. Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe if you'd like to learn more about business and marketing as it pertains to handmade business owners. And yeah, have an amazing day. I hope this helped. Let me know if you applied any of these strategies, and I will see you in the next one.